Level meeting on NCD's mental health and well-being.
Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure to join you for this important event. Very happy to be here.
We're going to talk a little bit about the current state of play of NCDs. We want to talk about the challenge, the importance of the high-level meetings in September, and make sure, as I mentioned, if you heard a few moments ago, that we're taking action, that implementations are taking action. So just to set the stage, as I mentioned, this is the fourth NCD high-level meeting that we're all preparing for with a theme of a program for the next 25 years. The Secretary General's report has called it, these discussions in past, a policy success, but an implementation failure. So what can be done this year to ensure the success of these high-level meetings and make the outcome different?
Yeah, thank you very much, first of all, to IFPMA and also to Foreign Policy for inviting me to participate. I mean, for Luxembourg, I represent Luxembourg at the United Nations. For us, global health in general is a key priority. We are also big supporters of the World Health Organization. When I accepted the job of preparing this high-level meeting together with my colleague, the ambassador of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it was also because we have the ambition to really make a difference for global health and indeed try to move forward. As you said, it has been a policy success, but the implementation has not been on par. SDG target 3.4 is really lagging behind. I mean, many SDG targets are lagging behind, if we are honest. And the main reason for that is because we are not investing enough. I say we don't invest enough, the governments, but also the whole society has to invest more in NCDs to really make a difference. So we really hope that this year, also by integrating the input from civil society, from the private sector, from NGOs, also from people affected by NCDs, we can really achieve a political document, a political declaration in September that can bring concrete change for people on the ground. And I mean by that mainly, this is affecting, of course, the population in the whole world. But what is really lagging behind is especially in lower and lower middle income countries. Right. There we really have to ensure that we make progress in the future.
Great, thank you for that. The report's recommendations mentioned a couple of ways to focus on this. One was increasing sustainable financing. Another, creating health-promoting environments. Obviously, there's great preventative undertakings that can happen. Investing in primary health care and health system resilience and data and being able to measure results and surveillance. What interventions, from your perspective, understanding you're not a health professional, you're government, not yet, you're getting there. What is the most effective and important from where you sit? What will have the most impact?
I would say we have to focus on all of these. And this, I think you mentioned, this is mentioned also in the report by the UN Secretary General.
Yeah.
These are his main recommendations. What I've heard so far also through our interactions with a variety of stakeholders is that we should really do more on primary healthcare. Make sure that the NCD's prevention is fully integrated in primary healthcare, and also make sure that primary healthcare with that component is also available more broadly, also to underserved populations. So I think that would be the area where I think we can make most progress. I would also say that this year what is maybe special compared to previous high-level meetings is that we need to focus also more on mental health. For the first time also mental health is now mentioned in the title of the high-level meeting, and it's not by accident. It's really something that is affecting millions of people across the world, especially as we are still recovering from the pandemic. I think right. There's a huge need to focus more on mental health, especially for the youth, young people. And we have, of course, also the development of social media, and the digitalization that is affecting young people especially. So these are areas where we need to do more than we did in the past.
I think that's a great point, and thanks for raising mental health. You were talking about Luxembourg's position, focus on multilateralism, not just health, and how that's important. Maybe you could talk for a moment about different countries and their perspectives on that. What resonates around NCDs, around mental health, around some of these elements that the Secretary General recommended? What resonates with member states? And in your position, as chair, where are you able to galvanize some spirit and unity?
Yeah, I mean, we need indeed to have all the member states, supporting. We need to have an outcome that is supported, that is agreed by consensus, ideally, which of course will not be easy. I must confess, we are not there yet, and there are many different interests at play. But I think we can achieve a consensus outcome. I would say that there are a few levels. I mean, you said Luxembourg, we are committed multilateralists. So this is also the occasion to show that multilateralism can deliver. It's not the UN as just an empty talking shop, but we actually take decisions that will have real-life impact to improve the health, the well-being of the citizens around the world. So there's this argument. There's also the argument of human rights. I mean, to have a good health should be a human right that is available to all, and all should have access to that right. And the third level, I would say, is the economic argument, showing that if you invest in NCDs, it is actually beneficial for your companies, for your economy. There are a number of figures out there, also in studies by the WHO. If you invest $1 in NCDs, you get a return of at least $7 for the economy, because you have a more healthy population, a more healthy workforce. Estimates say that if you have the right investments in mental health, you could actually add $4.4 trillion to the global economy by 2050. So there is also, I mean, that should be in the interest of us all to create the conditions for stronger economies by working on NCDs and mental health.
Indeed, at FP we talk about human ROI and how focusing on human ROI is a great way to galvanize support and spirit. I love that approach. So let's be more hopeful and talk about September and the meetings that we have coming up. What's a win for you? If you were to wave a magic wand and say, I want to come out of this meeting with these results, what would those results be?
Yeah, the ideal result is that we have indeed a declaration that is adopted by acclamation. So, the whole room clapping and adopting a document. So that's the dream, and we will have to make, what do they say, teamwork makes the dream work. So we really pull together with our colleagues from St. Vincent and the Grenadines really to have an outcome where everybody has contributed and everybody can see that it is a meaningful outcome. So agreement by consensus. You might say this is not high ambition. This should be the norm. But in the last, let's say, few months, we have seen that on many, especially on health issues, there's been a lot of, I would also say, politicization. And we feel also the impact of the geopolitical tensions, even in this field where you would say this is more, this should be more scientific based, this should be a more, let's say, factual discussion. But at the UN, there is always the political factor. So for me, the ideal result is that we have consensus and we have a declaration where you actually have commitments by member states, by the private sector, and that includes, of course, the members of IFPMA. And you have objectives that you can then measure, that there is a kind of accountability. And when we have the next high-level meeting after 2030, we can also measure what we have done in the meantime, and hopefully we will be able to show progress at the 5th high-level meeting that will hopefully show that we have achieved progress through also our efforts this year.
Fantastic. I think that's a great note to end on. Took a couple of takeaways there on human ROI. Teamwork makes the dream work, and keeping consistent and at it. You've been doing this for a while now, and seeing some results. So I applaud you. When we all talk about there being rapturous applause after the high-level meeting in September, there should be rapturous applause for you now and getting us there. So thank you so much for all that you do, Ambassador Maes. Please, a round of applause.
Thank you.
Please welcome Diana Gittins, an advocate who will share her lived experience with an NCD, and our moderator, Foreign Policy's Alison Carlson.